Agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz, and he has recently written a book called The Three Questions. Well, let me tell you, my friends and gems, I'm so happy and excited to let you know one of the things that I love and adore about Don Miguel Ruiz is that he never, ever, ever assumes anything, and he never takes anything personally. And heaven knows, having been a bestseller more than once and a New York Times bestseller, he of course always does his best, and he always is impeccable with his word. And so here we are by mutual agreements to be on at 7 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time on Love and Money Secrets TV. Don Miguel, thank you from the bottom of my heart for spending this hour with us tonight.
It's really my pleasure to be with you. And with everybody who is listening to us, of course.
Yes. Well, let's dive in deep, because most of our audience has already been very familiar with your book, The Four Agreements, and several of your other books. And this is a more recent book that you wrote called The Three Questions. And I know that for myself personally, I have asked myself, what is love? I remember asking myself that question, who am I? What is love? What is real? And then fast forward again, in 2012 and 13, as I was on the beginning of a divorce, as I started that process of divorce, every evening when I would meditate, I would think about the concept of love. And I really did a heartfelt, deep dive, spiritual, soulful seeking of what love was. And I thought to myself, what is love? Maybe I don't really know what love is. Maybe my notion and my concept of love is totally an illusion. Maybe it's out of sorts. Maybe it's out of whack. Maybe, I think I know what the love, and I'm pretty sure that I'm on the money when it comes to the love of mother and child, because I already had 3 kids at that time. And I knew the love that I had for them and felt for them, and that I perceived to receive back from them. And of course, the love that you have with your parents and relatives and things like that. And of course, I thought I understood and knew the love of, a friend, a filial love. I wasn't so sure that I really knew and understood a romantic love, but it really made me look at love as an entire concept and energy. And I understood that God is love, or I thought I understood that God was love. I knew that God and love were one and the same thing, that the name, we have to use, right now we're speaking English, so there are labels that we use for everything. So we've got a microphone, we have a cell phone. Somebody decided we're going to call this a cell. And so that's how we're able to convey the energy that we feel inside us. We are able to use these descriptors to give language to, and to come to an agreement that this is what we understand that each other is trying to communicate. So as I pondered, what is love? It's like, okay, God is love. So God and love, they're the same thing. I am love. Well, if I am love and God is love, it's like, okay, so I'm trying to make sense of that. Scriptures say, I am the light of the world. God is the light of the world. I am the light of the world, as in I am the light of the world, and as in being the love of the world. So tell us, what were some of the discoveries as I'm sure you must have had your own epiphanies and insights as you wrote the book. Tell us a little bit about that and your discovery of what is love.
Okay, this is kind of exciting because there's so many opinions. There's a lot of people who they claim that they know what love is, and they write so many books about that and give lectures, discussions with different points of view. Then, in order to really know what love is, first we need to know what is not. Take away everything that is not love. And what is left, you will find out that this is love. And yes, you say about many different concepts like God is love, God. But God is just a word. It's just a word that we know what understand because we speak the same language, because we understand that symbol, but it's only truth in English and not exactly the way we imagine that God is. You know, all the religions give a description of what love is, what God is. Then, in order to know God also is, we have to see what is not God. Anyway, what I say God is just pure energy. Is life itself, is a force that moves matter. Because the entire creation is a binary system. One is the force that is indestructible, is eternal, has no beginning, has no end. And the other is matter, who has a beginning and has an end. And we can say that life, that force who moves matter, is the greatest artist, because from these electrons, these ions, it put it in so many different shapes and form. It's endless to see all the creation, but it's just a binary system. Is energy and is matter. Energy, of course, is life. And we know already that matter cannot move if a force don't move matter. Then we see, and we call also matter death. Then
Think we have your screen froze up. You said we call matter death. Oh no. I don't know if you can hear me, Don Miguel, but it appears that your screen froze. You said, well, hopefully we'll get you back here. Oh, it looks like your call dropped. So you'll pop on here in just a moment. Meanwhile, let me do a little shout out here on YouTube. So one of the things that Don Miguel talked about just a few minutes ago is that, you know, we live in a binary system here on this 3D plane called Earth. And of course, binary simply means that it's the plane of duality where you have up, you have down, you have light, you have dark, you have daytime, you have nighttime, you have white, you have black, you have things, you know, at a diagonal, in one direction or the other. So you always have a polar plane of opposites. You have love, there is fear. You have everything full, you have everything empty in the void. You have health, you have disease. So this is the plane of experience where we experience that plane of duality. Let's see if okay, hopefully we'll get Don Miguel right back here because his connection dropped. Anyhow, so we do live in a plane of duality where we experiences the highs, the lows, the hot, the cold, the big, the small, the fat, and he's back here. Hello, Don Miguel. Okay, so interestingly enough, it dropped as the moment you said that love is energy and matter, and then you said matter is death, and then the matter of this connection dropped. I think the love energy wanted us to be aware that matter and death, there's a finality to that.
Well, the entire creation is that binary system, energy and matter. And like I say, in the computer, everything that we see in the computer, everything that we hear is based in just two numbers, 1 and 0. Then we can understand that 0 is energy and 1 is matter. Then everything we know is made just by energy and matter. Energy, of course, is life, and matter is death. Then the entire creation is a beautiful dance between life and death. And we have everything in ourselves. Our physical body is matter, that you can understand that is dead. Our physical body has been dead since the conception, because it's matter, and only move because the energy is moving matter and giving shape
to the matter. So you bring a very interesting point, which I never thought of it that way, that matter is death, in the sense that if something is matter in material form, by definition, it is death because it's finite. The energy that fuels that matter is infinite.
Yes.
Love is infinite. The energy is infinite. God is
infinite.
Light is infinite. But the things that are tangible, like there is only the moment this is created, and the energy moves particles to create matter.
And give the shape.
Gives it this shape. And
the sound.
And a sound, and it'll only exist for a temporary time period.
Emotions.
And then
and all of the above, the entire creation.
And that's how everything is, the leaves, trees, everything that's in the ocean, anything that's in the 3D material plane has energy moving through it. But by definition, there's a time of death for it, which is why, as humans, we die, we go back to the earth. You have a tree, it decays, it becomes a fertilizer that comes back again in the form of multiple trees usually. So it's part of, like you said, this 3D existence is
a wonderful and beautiful system. It's like a beautiful dance, like I said before, between life and death, everything. As you can see, our body is dead. And it's alive because life is moving it. It's giving shape and form. Then we can see that our body is really our messenger of death. It reminds us all the time that it's not eternal, and sooner or later, life will leave that physical body and will disappear. Then the real angel of death is our own physical body.
Body is a messenger of death.
Then life has its own rules how to create, let's say, a human being. We have a DNA, which is the key, is the master plan. And life is putting all those pieces together, and in 9 months create the most wonderful biological machine, and is alive. And will be alive until the moment that that energy, which means life, leave the physical body. But in our DNA is the entire destiny of our physical body from beginning to end. That can take many of the superstitions away, because we have many superstitions about what is death, etc., etc. But it's not the whole thing, because we have something that we call a human mind, which is the dream that we was talking not that long ago. We are dreaming all the time. We dream when we are awake, and we dream when we are sleeping. The big difference when we dream when we are sleeping and when we are awake is that when we are awake, we are perceiving light from outside. It is ongoing. Then our brain is really like a mirror, and that reflects everything that we perceive, not just light, by sounds and feelings and many other things are reflected in the brain. And that reflection is the dream. We are dreaming, and we create a masterpiece of art when we create the story of our life. And in that story of our life, we have a main character who has your name. Then you are the main character of your story. But you didn't choose your name. Your parents chose a name for you. You understood and you adopted, and it's your identity.
Mhm.
It's neither good or bad or right or wrong.
Just is.
It just is. And this is what we believe all of our life. That's what I am. When I ask you, okay, who you are, what you are, we were saying the whole story of our life, what we believe we are. I'm a medical doctor, I'm a writer, I'm male, I do this, everything that you feel, etc. But is that true? This is what you really are? Then in order for you to understand what you are, it's important to understand what we are not. Are we our physical body? Let's see, if you lose a hand, you're still alive, you're still a body, but you don't have a hand. Is that you? If you lose your legs, it's still you? Well, while life moves your body, you still feel that it's you. But you are a reflection of life. You're just a reflection. Like if you see yourself in the mirror, the person that you see in the mirror, it just looks like you. But you know it's your reflection, because you don't unreal. What is inside the mirror is not real. Well, everything that is inside the mirror, you can see millions of objects. But are they real? If you want to touch it, you're going to only touch the surface of the mirror. But it looks so real that what we are really doing is seeing our mind through that mirror. This is how we dream. The difference between that mirror and the brain is that brain has knowledge. And with knowledge, we qualify everything. We judge everything. We give our point of view about everything that we perceive, everything that we hear, everything that we feel, and we try to make sense, which means that we are distorting the image that is in our brain. You cannot distort the image that is inside a mirror, but we distort the image that we have in our brain. And this is how we create our own reality. What we believe is real. But once again, is that real? Is real? Is that truth? And what is very interesting is that 7-8 billion people, I don't even know, it's not important how many, we have a very similar kind of mind. And we distort everything. Then we can say that our brain is a mirror who distort everything that perceive and qualify it and judge it and try to control it. You know, it's getting more and more interesting when you understand that. But when you see the story of your life, a masterpiece that you write and you are the main character, you find out that in your story, there are violence, there are injustice, there are everything that we have in the story. But why all that happened in our mind? Well, it's kind of easy to understand that point, which is the most important point in the human mind. Because by understand that point, we really can change the reality that we create, the dream that we create, the story that we create, because we wrote that story according of what we believe, what we learn, especially in the first 10, 12 years of our life, when we don't question anything and we rule our life according to what we learn in those days. Then, like we say before, when we was born, we didn't have a language. We didn't know anything, but we exist already. We didn't know who we are. We didn't care what is or not real. And we are just love. Mm-hmm. All of us, we are an incarnation of love, because life is love. But with the knowledge, we start distorting everything, little by little. We put the rules how we should live our life, what is right, what is wrong, what should be ashamed of, carry the guilt, the anger, the jealousy, whatever is in our life is our creation. But we did that according of what we believe. Then once that we understand that, and we see, when we see relationship, romantic relationship, friends relationships, we copy what the adults do. Monkey see, monkey do. Mm-hmm. Then we learn to be the way they are. They learn to love the way they are. But that kind of love, we see there's so many rules, so many expectations. We see them angry. We see them punish each other. We see judging everybody. We witness that kind of love. We grow up and we start being just like them, but in our personal distortion. And this is how we learn to love. And we love with conditions. I love you if you let me control you. If you let me control you, we're going to be happy forever. You just do whatever I want you to do, there will not be any problem. But it's vice versa too. We learn to love everybody with conditions, trying to control everything. But everybody loves us also with conditions. They love us if we let them to control us. If we just do whatever they want us to do. If we dress the way they want us to dress, if we speak the way they want us to speak, then you see that it becomes like a war of control.
It's a game of control, and whoever, I can control the most, or who can control me the most.
Mm-hmm. And I only love you if.
Yeah.
With conditions. Then if we want to know what love really is, we have to see what love is not.
Yeah.
And of course, there's so many great humans that in the past, they define that kind of love easily. But it's so difficult really for people to understand that. But if you tell them, okay, you want to know what love is, then find out what is not love. And then if you review the story of your life, that you see the way you used to love, and you can see, oh, that was not love. That was just selfishness. That was not love. If you take away everything that is not, what is left is the real thing, the real love, and it's unconditional. You know, like you know, I used to be a surgeon.
Mm-hmm.
And in a certain point of my life, I decided that I don't want to be a surgeon anymore, because I wanted to understand how the human mind works. Then I took apprentices and I started exploring the mind of my apprentices with their permission, of course.
Of course.
And it was a period of 10 years. That was in the late 80s, the last century.
Mm-hmm.
The result, it was the 4 agreements. That was the result.
Wow. So I didn't realize that that came from that period of time of you doing that deep dive study about, you've always had a fascination with the brain and the human mind and consciousness. So the 4 agreements was born from that study.
Yes, definitely. When I decided to explore the mind, it was, I wanted to understand why we are the way we are. I want to understand the reason why is all that war, that injustice, that poverty, you name it, all of that. Mm-hmm. And of course, I find out that before I was born, all that exists already. I didn't bring it to this world. It was already the whole planet that. And they teach everybody to be the way they are. They teach us to be like them, to be part of the whole problem that exists already. Mm-hmm. But we are not responsible to resolve all what exists before us, definitely. But when we understand, it's kind of easy to find solutions. Then in that book, The 4 Agreements, of course, I see what the problem is. And I tell everybody, we are domesticated. We are trapped in the domestication. And it's hard to stop that domestication. It's hard to escape from that domestication. Then I share what the real problem is. And that domestication is because they teach us to love with conditions. We have to follow the beliefs of a church, the belief of the way they, whatever they tell us to be. We are into politics, sport, and everything. They indoctrinate us in order to believe without a doubt and to be controlled in that way. Then that's the problem, the human domestication. Then solution. Well, we have to challenge knowledge.
Yeah.
Because we are the way we are because we believe all the knowledge that we receive, and that we increase it, that we believe in books, school, in everywhere. And we have to put the power of doubt in everything that we believe. Yes. Then in order to do that, well, first, be impeccable with the word. It's really important, because you use the word to create a story that the one you live. You can create your a wonderful heaven or the worst hell, but it's your word. Yeah. And keys, don't take anything personal. It's so simple, because they live in their own world, and it's full of lies. That you can understand that there is that conflict in the human mind, only in the human mind, not in any other animal. Then we are this kind of animal that we have a war in our mind.
Yeah.
And for a long time, we used to believe that that was between truth and lies. But truth doesn't care. The truth exists even if we believe or not in the truth, it exists. That's it. We can make stories and whatever, but the truth doesn't care what we believe. With or without humanity, what exists, exists, and that's true.
Just is.
On the other hand, all those lies only exist because we believe in all those lies. And we invest our faith in those lies. We agree with every concept, and we create an entire belief system. And we discover that is a war between lies and lies, not between the truth and lies. Because we have so many voices inside of us, all the secondary characters in our mind, they have a voice that sounds like our father, that sounds like our mother, that sounds like the president, who sounds like the best friend, sounds like the lover. You name it, that voice is in our head. And it's only us. They're not the real ones, but it's a copy of everybody that really exists outside. Then you find out that you really don't know your parents, you don't know your beloved, you don't know your children, you don't know anybody. The only thing that you know about everyone is just what you believe about them, and what you believe about them is already distorted. Then if you were able to go, let's say, into your beloved mind, you will see that in his story, you're just a secondary character. And the way he perceives you is completely different than the way you perceive yourself. Or you go in the story of your mother will be exactly the same thing. You're still that little girl that don't know nothing. But she had no idea about you. Nobody have any idea about you. But it's the same way with everybody. You don't know them. You have no idea what they really are. But you know what you believe about them. You know your secondary characters very well. And you try to control your secondary characters. Then in this book, the 3 questions, there's a part that I tell everybody that your mind is just like a country. But there's millions of people living there with their own voice. But you are the president of that country. You're the main character, you are the president. But in your own country, you can be victimized for whatever you believe, because your whole belief system is like the book of law, it's like the Constitution. What is there is everything that you believe, what you are capable to do it and what you cannot do it. All your fears, everything is there. And it's your Constitution. And it rules the president, which is you. And there's the judge who applied the Constitution in order to judge you. Then the judge is a perfect judge. Then where is the problem? Well, it's the Constitution. Then in the Congress is a problem. Then if you don't like the way you live, maybe it's time for you to see what are the rules, what are the laws that you're following, why you're not able to speak in public, why you're not able to do all the things that you tell to yourself you cannot do it, why you cannot trust or whatever. Then the only way is if you're able to change the Constitution, to change the book of the law. And that's what the 5 agreements really do. It helps you, to give you the tools that you can change your own constitution. And what's the, then you understand that you are the country, you are the ruler. But then if you're the president of your country, perhaps you can start seeing everybody else like a different country. Your mother lives in her own country. Your beloved lives in his own country. Your friends, everyone lives in his own country. And they're ruled by the Constitution who control that country that is so different than your Constitution. Then in order to relate with all those other countries is not easy, because the way they rule their life is different than the way you rule yours.
You can see how right there, what you're saying about whatever, if you're not really aware of that book of rules that you have inside your head with all those voices that you feel that you have to follow these rules to be good, to be worthy of accepting love, you could see how that would be really truly the source of a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, and a lot of wasted energy. Because what you're attempting to do is futile. It's impossible to live a life where you're in agreement with everyone. And heaven forbid you should be trying to control. I mean, it's difficult enough for us to control ourselves. And now you're trying to use, oh no, it'll come back on. So we're trying to use the book of rules that we have that lives inside of each one of us to measure, to judge, to control others. And they're not aware of whatever book of rules and measures and so forth that you have. It's hard enough for you to keep to them. And now to impose that on someone else. I think he's popping on right now. So this it's pointing to how we can rewrite our own reality, rewrite the programming. You know, you can look at the human brain and body. Looks like he's coming back on. Any second now, it looks like. There we go. Oh, and the sound, make sure you unmute yourself. Yeah, unmute. Let me see if I can. Oh, there we go.
I don't know what the problem is. I never had the problem before.
Yeah, it dropped. Again, it's okay. So yeah, I was saying that as we recognize that we have this book of rules, the Constitution, that nobody else knows what the entire list is. But now you have this book of rules that you're trying to follow with much difficulty. It's hard for you to control yourself, to get yourself to do it all perfectly. And now you're using that as a measurement and as a way to control and to require this of other people. My gosh, that seems like the true source of pain, the true source of suffering, the source of a lot of wasted energy, which is stealing from you the life force that you have that you could be using to create beautiful things if you just live and let live. Oh, I mean, I can't imagine the burden of all that legality. And then to rewrite, it's hard enough for us to rewrite our own book of rules, but then to have to rewrite other people's and then to convince them, it's like,
you can't, you don't do that.
I don't understand why, you know, it's always been evident to me that the people who want to control you the most, they themselves are the most out of control.
Exactly.
They have the most fear, which is why they have this excessive desire, need, and obsession to control everybody. That's just the manifestation of fear. So it's like, okay, I see that. And it's like, thank you very much. Keep distance from stuff.
Exactly.
Because it's like, no, I don't want to welcome that in. You know, the Buddhists and the Taoists have a parable about, you know, which wolf do you feed? Do you feed the wolf that's barking at you with rabies, that's like trying to instill fear in you, that's trying to control you, make you do something. And I always go to the left because that's where our left brain is.
Mhm.
Okay, do you want to feed that wolf? No. And scripture tells us to turn the other cheek. And there's another wolf over here. It's a pack wolf. It's loving. It's licking my face. It's showing me love.
Mhm.
I'm not doing anything. I'm unconditionally just standing there as a witness, and it just loves upon me. I receive the love. I give the love back. And over here, I happen to also get to see the beautiful sunset. The landscape is so much better. Let me feed my attention over here to this wolf, as opposed to this one that's got rabies, that has fear,
Mhm.
that wants to hurt me, bite me, control me. It's like, which of the two wolves is going to survive in the long term in my existence? It's going to be this one over here, the one that's showing love, not the control freak over here. I don't want to, it's like, you know what, I'm going to give my back to that. This one will
Do
get
you,
starved, and this one I will feed.
you know what the problem is there?
What?
That people lie to themselves. They will say, that's the wolf I will feed, but it's not true. They feel it the other one, because the other one, that wolf, the name of that wolf is conditional love.
Yeah.
The other wolf is unconditional love. Then you, that way you can see what's the core of the whole problem is that we learn to love with conditions. And we is the entire humanity. It's not you and me only. And we see in the history of humanity, all those wars that happened since the beginning of times for the humanity. We can see this the result of that conditional love. Then when you understand that what happened in our personal mind, in ourselves, then we can change our own story. We are not responsible for change everybody else's story, but for sure, if we want to, we can change our own story, our own world. Then when I do all those lectures, almost always by the end, I ask a favor to whoever is listening to me. And I say, please help me to change the world. But I'm not referring to the world of the humanity, but the only world that they can change, which is their own world, the one they create. Then if they believe in those wolves, well, they have to unlearn to be that wolf who create all those disturbances, because that wolf really is ourselves. It's us. We are that wolf. We are both wolves.
Both of them. Yeah.
And we feed the other one all the time. Every time that we're judging somebody, what's feeding that wolf? Every time that we get angry and try to punish somebody, we are feeding that dog. Every time that we try to control the people we say we love, we are feeding that wolf. But we convince ourselves, no, I will not feed that wolf. No, we are lying. It's not true. We keep feeding that love, that wolf. We keep doing it because that wolf is domestication. It is what creates all the drama in our life. The truth doesn't care either one.
It doesn't matter.
The truth just exists. That is just a war in our mind. And that's why everybody is really a warrior, because they fight it in their own mind until the point when the war is over and they're not warriors anymore. And that happens when you become a real master, not a wannabe master. Because I know many wannabe masters that keep feeding the same wolves, but they preach what they want to learn, what they want to be. There is something that, well, but they're much better than everybody else, of course, because it's going into the right direction. It's not about to judge anybody. No, everybody knows. You can see yourself, you know what you are, what you believe. But if the only world that you can change is your own world. If we change one by one, in the future, humanity will change. But in the future, we're talking about hundreds of years. Not this year or next year, not even this century. No. The war for control is still there. The conditional love is still there. And all those fears, all the Pandora box is there.
It'll always be there.
But that can change while we humans grow, because we are still children in this planet Earth.
So really the three questions, that book is really really bringing to our awareness how to free ourselves from really the jail. We've been all incarcerated in our minds. You know, we can't see the bars, can't see the limitations that we have, but it's a way to look at things so that you can get out of the jail of your mind and free yourself from that, you know, the domesticated, conditional loving wolf, as opposed to the unconditional, which are both of us, because it's all inside here, and we're the master computer programmer, we're the artist who's writing the script in here, and either we accept the script and say, yep, this download's good, or we go, oh, wait a minute, no, I'm going to rewrite this, and I want to.
Then the real war happened in the Congress, really. To pass rules or no longer believe in all rules. Because once that you have an aha moment, just all those rules before just gone away. Doesn't apply to you anymore. But still there's more there to work with.
So do you think it's an effective exercise for
Practice.
or practice to like write down what are all the things that I think are rules that I have to, maybe I was brought up with, you know, in a certain, everybody's brought up a certain way. Okay. And so we all have, you know, this is right, this is wrong. You know, who says this is right, is wrong? Well, my mom said, well, or my dad said, or maybe they both did. Well, why did they say that?
Maybe the Bible says that.
Maybe the Bible says that. Maybe the pastor, the rabbi, the priest, the monk, whatever says that. So I think
the senator,
or yeah, maybe my government, maybe, you know, the scientists, whatever, it doesn't matter
exactly
what the group is. But I think questioning that and saying, why, you know, is this is what I perceive to be true, but is it really true? And is there any reason why I can't, you know, I can't travel right now because of what's going on in the world? Well, actually, you and I both know there are plenty of traveling, you know, for the last year, even though, you know, we're still under certain circumstances that we believe are or are not in existence around the planet. The truth is that we have people who have been right at this point in time are experiencing a delightful heavenly time. And there are other people, for them, it's a pure plane of hell. And I think that both of those people can experience the other side, like what you're saying is based on how you choose to pay attention to the rules, the belief systems that you have, recognizing that, you know, love is life. We are an expression of life.
Yes,
and
we are life.
Just by us breathing, you know, when we're inspired, you're taking breath in and you're bringing that throughout. So would you say that as people read the three questions, and I think it's a book that you can't just read once, like I've already read it twice, read it once, then I listened to it, and then I'm reading it for a third time. I think it's one of those books that more than ever, oh my gosh, your timing was so perfect to release this at this time. But I think to free yourself from everything that's going on in any way, whether it's in your work environment, your personal environment, if it's in your family, your neighborhood, your state, your county, your city. Forget about all of that. Just all the things that you dislike that are not settling well with you, that are a pain point perhaps. It's possible that this could be your textbook to freedom.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
By really thinking about who you truly are and who
exactly.
you are. And as we talked a little bit before we aired, as a child, I remember I mentioned to you that, especially the days that I didn't have to go to school, so I wasn't woken up to go to school, I could wake up freely and just stay in bed, whether it was a Saturday or whether it was, a holiday, that I would look outside the window and question if I was awake within a dream or if I was awake in my room and outside was a dream, those perceptions. But if you think about when you're in the dream state, I know for myself, because I don't know what other people's dream state is, but when I'm in a dream, whether it's a dream, it could be lucid, it could be astral, journeying or projecting or not, or even a mystical experience in meditation, I don't usually look like this, but I know that I am that awareness in that realm, but I don't necessarily look like this, which is telling me that this reflection that I see in the mirror, this reflection that I'm seeing right now during this broadcast, I can see this on the computer screen. This is obviously a hologram, a manifestation.
Exactly.
And it's so funny, John Miguel, it's like with every day, every hour that I live, minute by minute, everything seems to be like, everything is like connected where it's all the same thing. One of the certifications that I received in the last 3 or 4 years was Chinese face reading, which I was getting all these clinical certifications, not to get a piece of paper that said that I was clinically certified for anything, but because I knew that intuitively, I oftentimes would see people, I would look at their faces, not really even knowing how I totally would know, but sometimes I would look at their face and I would go, oh my gosh, this person has a kidney issue, or they have a liver issue, or they have a circulatory issue, or, oh my gosh, their homocysteine levels are, and the next question is, I wonder if they know. But I didn't have anything from a left brain perspective that I could check it with to make sure that I was 100% right. And so I got this Chinese face reading, clinical medical, which is traditional Chinese medicine. And so now I have something to check it against. But what's fascinating, and where this goes hand in hand with what we're talking about, how the body is a hologram, the face is a hologram too. And I can't tell you the number of times that I saw with my own 2 eyes. And then I had it happen to me, which is bizarre. But I would say to someone, oh, I would see either something with their spleen, or I'd see lines of sorrow on their face. And so I'm intuiting, and then I'm double checking with my knowledge of traditional Chinese medicine, diagnosing what I see on their face and using it as a point of question, not telling people you have this. I said, oh, what happened between the ages of, let's say, 2 and 4? And they're like, how did you know? This happened. And now all of a sudden, a sorrow line that was on the edge of their eyes, all of a sudden, it disappears while I'm talking to them. Just by bringing conscious awareness to it, they recall it, they let go of the energy. That line, which in the United States, we call them wrinkles, but in Chinese medicine, they don't call them wrinkles, they call them lines, because your face makes, like a smile, you smile up. If you're sad, your face goes down. If you're angry, you burrow your eyebrows. And he'll be jumping back on. Here we go. So expressions of joy are universal, no matter what your culture or language. Expressions of anger are universal, doesn't matter what culture or language. The more you make certain expressions, the more it marks in your face. So if you've had, I'll share the personal one that disappeared on my face, which was surprising to me because I had it up until a few years ago. And I had a lost love line that was right across the bridge of my nose. And I thought I inherited that line from my father's mother because her nose also had that little line that was across. And every time I would get a lot of sun, it would get darker, of course. And I didn't consider it a wrinkle, but I've had it since I was a kid. And it wasn't until I think it was the second class that I took level 2 class of Chinese face reading, TCM, that it was brought to my attention, not just that I had it, but it doesn't mean that because you can inherit energies from your ancestors. It could be your parents, your grandparents, your great grandparents going back. So in my case, I realized, oh, that's not just a genetic mutation, like the color of my eyes or the color of my hair or the color of my skin. This was a line, an energetic holographic mark on my face due to something. I really don't know what her lost love was, but I knew that obviously I was tied to her because I had the same marking. So after I realized that in the class, then about a week later, I'm back at home because I took the classes in Nevada. When I came back home to California, one day I'm looking in the mirror and the line is gone off of my face. And so the leading authority in Chinese face reading, she just passed away a few weeks ago. Her name is Lillian Pearl Bridges. But she talks about how all the different markings on your face, this is true throughout your entire body. This is not just, but my training was only in the face, and that's what her primary training was. And as you have the conscious awareness of the energy that created the line, whether it's grief, sorrow, sadness, over nurturing, it goes on and on and on. It marks the face. And when that energy is released, then the skin plumps back up. And now you have a new canvas, if you will, that's free of that energy. So that's totally in line. Again, that's full circle what we're talking about. Oh, we can't hear you. You got to unmute. I guess every time you come back on, it gets mute. Oh, there you go. You unmuted.
Okay, yeah. You know, something that is important to understand is what I told you before. When we was born, everything already exists, and we are not responsible for anything that already exists because we really didn't create it. But it doesn't mean that we cannot do anything for anybody else. I say that because what is important is when you have that awareness and you start changing your world, after you apply this fifth agreement, be skeptical, but learn to listen, then what you're going to do is what you love to do, where is your passion. And it's not important if people receive or not what you do. You will not change the humanity, the weather system or whatever. You're just gonna do what you love to do, and this is what you will do for the entire humanity, but mainly for yourself. Because you do it because this is what makes you happy. And keep shifting that you are only responsible for yourself. Then, something also important is to understand that by the end, we really don't know what we are. And it's not important to know what we are. You know, like the dog doesn't know that it's a dog, the cat doesn't know that it's a cat. They don't care. They are dogs, they are cat. We name them dog, cat. We call ourselves humans. And we give ourselves that name. But the truth is that we don't know what we are, but we are. That's the most important part. We live and we can enjoy the whole experience of our life by giving the best we have, but loving without conditions.
So true. What you're saying is so true. To be skeptical, but be open to listening. And then giving yourself the permission to be who you truly are without any of all those labels. I mean, I think just right now I'm thinking, oh my gosh, had you listened to all the world around you and not been true to yourself, you and I would not be here speaking today. You would not have this incredible body of work. You would have never written the 4 agreements. You would have never written the 3 questions.
Exactly.
The Toltec Art of Wisdom. I mean, you've got like 30, who knows how many books that you've written. What a tremendous theft to yourself and humanity that would have been had you not been true to yourself. Because logically, the world is telling you, oh, Miguel, you cannot quit being a neurosurgeon. You cannot stop medicine. You've spent all this time, all this.
Exactly.
Look at all the years of education that you took to become a doctor. We come from a family of doctors and health and well-being shamans. You need to follow your path of being a doctor. There's a reason why you became a doctor. Now is not a time for you to abandon ship. You do that until you go to your grave. So if that's the case, this moment in time would not exist right now.
Exactly.
And you would have not touched and impacted all the thousands, millions of lives at this point. But because you loved yourself enough to follow your own truth, to be impeccable with your word, with yourself, and to allow yourself to bring forth the truth, like you were saying, it's like you were not identified with the label of a surgeon, of a doctor, of whatever the requirements or the there's a lot of expectations from people on the outside. No one is shy to let you know what they expect. What do you expect of yourself?
Nothing. Just exist and enjoy life.
And the clues are in the words. It's like when you just said, it's like, it doesn't matter. We're a human. We're not a human. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
You started this broadcast saying that love is life, and that, we have matter, and that matter is death.
Yes.
And we've said multiple times on this broadcast, you said it, and I said it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
The truth is the physicality of those labels, the physicality of those expectations, the physicality, the particles coming together, wanting us to XYZ, none of that matter doesn't matter. What matters is that energy and that expression of who we really are, which is the life force that's powering this meat suit, this collection of 206 bones and all those muscles and 50 trillion cells. So it really doesn't matter.
Then all of a sudden you find out that you are that wolf that is just enjoying life and have nothing against anybody. And the other wolf is just a memory. Used to be that way, but you're not.
And it's not, you're aware of it, but it's not something you give your energy away to or attention.
Exactly.
You don't go there. There's no need to, it existed, but so what? Who cares?
And it's important that don't carry the blame or the guilt for that dog. It's not yours.
It doesn't matter.
No.
So what would you, for someone who's listening right now, someone who's listening to this at whatever their now is when they're watching this video, their now. So in the midst of their life experience, they're wanting to make a change. What would be the number one thing? Obviously, they're reading your book. They're going to listen to your book. They're going to listen to this broadcast. They're probably going to Google you on YouTube and listen to many more of your talks about this book and others. So what would be the number one thing they could do today, as soon as this is done, so that they could move forward in this experience, this new experience that they're wanting to embody and to incorporate into the who of who they are?
Well, I will tell them that please help me to change the world. The world that they create, the only world that they can change. And if they can change the world, is by changing the Constitution, by changing what they believe about themselves and about everything in their own way, not in my way, not in your way, not in anybody else's way. Doesn't matter who they are, but they do it in their own way because they know the story that they create. They know what they like in that story, but they don't like. Then change the rules, let go, and enjoy every single moment of your life. You're not responsible for anything else but for yourself.
So really find your joy and live a life of joy that gives you joy in that moment.
Be the joy.
Be the joy, embody the joy.
be the joy. You are the joy. You are love. You are an incarnation of love.
Mm-hmm.
Be what you really are, even if you don't know. Just be.
And it doesn't matter if you don't know.
It doesn't matter.
Because a dog doesn't know it's a dog.
Mm-hmm.
Cat doesn't know. Any animal doesn't know it's a animal. We didn't even know we were humans until we were told by our environment that in English we call this a human being,
Exactly.
people. Who cares? It doesn't really matter.
What is important is that we enjoy every moment of our life. That's what is important.
Wow. I did have another question I wanted to ask you, because you said, you talk a lot in the book about how we are the artist that's balancing these different energies. And you say that I want you to touch upon more about, as a great artist, that we have an eye for beauty and balance. I think that's so profound right now, more than ever, with the circumstances that are in our midst. How would you say that you maintain an eye for beauty and balance?
Well, stop believing everybody else. Stop believing what they tell you, what beauty is, what balance is, because balance change is not the same balance.
Yeah.
But
So
everything is in balance. By the end of the equation to the whole eternity is 0 equals 0.
That's so true. I never thought of it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So when we get to the end of, the road, so to speak, and we have the final death date, everything will balance to 0 equals 0.
Then during the whole process, the balance is shifting, changing from one side to the other side, but always the final is 0 equals 0. In any equation, you want to send some part of the equation to the other side, then how to balance it, have a new balance. It's always shifting. Positive, negative, it's always shifting.
So we have Denise is asking, what if the other force is going against you? You're trying to balance, you're trying to see beauty, you're trying to live in joy, but maybe you have someone living in your household who's always like devil's advocate. They're always picking a fight. They're always trying to control. If you have a force that's going against you, what do you do then?
Well, first of all, you need to see yourself. You cannot give what you don't have. You cannot love if you don't really love yourself, until you find that you really are the love of your life. And once that you find out, the way you see yourself change completely. Because I see my physical body like a sanctuary where I live. It's my home. Mm-hmm. It's the sanctuary with life lived. Mm-hmm. And as a sanctuary, I never allowed that anybody come and disrespect me. And I will not disrespect anybody else. If I don't have respect for myself, I can disrespect other people. But because I respect myself, I will not allow that someone come and disrespect me. I will not let that happen. Then that person have to find their own balance in the self-respect, and respect the other people, whoever is causing any problem.
Yeah, I think so often we're so conditioned. Like we said at the beginning, we get a distortion of the truth, and we're conditioned to people please and to obey. And, if we are good and we follow the rules and we do everything by the book, according to this group or these parents or a parent or school that have indoctrinated you to believe that these are all the rules that you have to do, and that you're only a good person if you do those good works. Now, you have maybe an individual who's trying to impose their same rule structure on you that they can't even follow themselves, but they want to impose it on you. The only way that they're going to have power over you is if you allow them to have that power of over you, because if you love yourself enough, you can say, you can even laugh. I've actually done this, which confuses them because they expect fight. And when you laugh and you go, oh, like, no, I don't think so. You must not be confused.
Of course, there's a way to.
Who wants to do that, or who wants to agree with you, or cares what you think. No, I really don't care. Do whatever you want. I don't care. You know,
if you don't affect me, there's no problem.
Yeah, and if you don't want to be my friend anymore, if you don't want to be around me, you want to cut me out of the will, whatever the case might be, because it can happen with any other human being. It's like, that's fine. I'm totally happy. It's like, I honestly do not.
And it's easy to understand when you see that person like another country. They have their point of view, their own story,
their own constitution.
And if either is your ally or not. If it's not your ally, you don't need to deal with that person. Well, there's so many points of view. Anyway, and I think that we already spent more than an hour.
So thank you, John. This has been an amazing hour, an amazing show. Thank you for answering Denise's question. And it's been awesome. And we'll be moving on to book number 2 very soon. But thank you for honoring this hour.
You're very, very welcome. And you know, all my love for you is always there.
All my love for you too. So for now, we say ciao for now, my friends and gems. Thank you for tuning in to Love and Money Secrets TV.
Okay. Kisses for everybody.
Kisses for everybody.
Okay, my love. Bye.